A new law took effect that makes it easier for prosecutors to charge people with a felony if they try to buy 16 or 17-year-olds for sex. I sat down with Sacramento Assemblymember Maggie Krell and Shayna Aber with the Acacia Center for Justice about the impact this law will have, but also some concerns that remain moving forward. Here's part of our conversation. Thank you both so much for making time for us today.
It's a pleasure.
Assemblymember Krell, I want to start with you. You had to buck your own party this year to get this new law passed that makes it easier for prosecutors to charge people who try to buy 16 and 17-year-olds for sex with a felony. Just how much of a dent do you see this new law now playing in child sex trafficking in the state?
Well, I think it's a really important law. I mean, first of all, like you said, any creep that tries to buy a 16 or 17-year-old for sex, that's a felony. There will be real consequences for that crime. And then also it criminalizes those that are loitering to purchase people for sex. And that really will help us crack down on the demand side of the sex trafficking industry.
Shayna, immigrants, undocumented people make up a big chunk of California's population. I wonder just what do you see, how do you see the intersection of undocumented people or documented people at this time and sex trafficking? What is the status of those two in the state?
Well, I would say that right now, given the amount of fear in communities and fear of actually seeking services and coming forward to help law enforcement, people feel more vulnerable, and I think a lot of the moves that have been made by the federal government have actually created more vulnerabilities, especially among unaccompanied children who arrive in the state and who are attending school and attending communities and end up while going through their court cases, getting kind of a constant barrage of letters and offers and inducements to actually give up their cases, which is exactly the opposite of what we want to do to support kids who are the victims or the survivors of trafficking. Trafficking survivors need support. They need the kind of protection that will allow them to actually feel safe to come forward and cooperate with prosecutors in ensuring that people who are bad actors are brought to justice.
So have groups like yours seen direct cases, specific cases that are a result of children being more vulnerable because of the Trump administration's policies?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really culminated over Labor Day weekend. During a holiday weekend, middle of the night, we saw ICE actually deploy private contractors to shelters throughout Arizona and Texas. There were kids on the list also who were supposed to be picked up in California, but luckily some federal litigators were able to stop the Trump administration from just shuffling kids onto planes in the middle of the night without them having gone through their court process. The message that sends to young people who have been educated about their rights and believe in that the rule of law matters here is that they ultimately don't matter, that their rights don't matter. And so as lawyers who are trying to defend children's rights and make sure that they understand the consequences of various actions and that they feel a sense of safety so that they can disclose things that are really important to their legal cases, we've seen kids start to really lack trust in the system.
Okay. Whether they're residents or immigrants or Californians or not, we do have two big events coming up, whether that's the Super Bowl or the World Cup games that are being hosted at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. How do you see those events having an impact on sex trafficking in this state?
Well, I think it's really important to acknowledge just the damage that's being done by the Trump administration's immigration tactics here. You know, the raids in neighborhoods, the separating children from their parents, those all make children more vulnerable to being trafficked. Some are being sent deliberately into harm's way. Some literally have escaped human trafficking and come here to escape their traffickers and are being sent right back. But here in the United States, these kids whose parents are being sent away, who are being separated, who are losing their stability, losing their real safety net, are real vulnerable to being trafficked. And so what we're going to see at these big events, like we always do, you know, there will be a concentrated effort from law enforcement to make arrests, to you know, really crack down on the demand side of trafficking. That's good, but what we need is a concerted effort 365 days a year, and we need a federal government that really understands the vulnerabilities of these kids and that what it's doing is exacerbating that. I mean, look, I represented a 5-year-old boy and his mom who were torn apart. They were separated for more than a month before they even got a phone call. And, you know, when they finally talked, each, you know, caged 500 miles apart, you know, the boy said, "Why didn't you call sooner?" And he just wanted to talk to his mom. That's all he wanted. I think about, you know, some of the cases that I prosecuted, and I can't tell you how many times I heard from teenage girls whose traffickers took their phones away, who couldn't contact their parents, and all they wanted to do was call their mom. So what we're doing here, this isn't going to make America great again. This isn't the right approach to a real problem that we have here.
My full conversation with Assemblymember Maggie Krell and Shayna Aber is on CalPolitics360.com. Now, we did reach out to the White House for comment on the claims that the president's immigration policies are making immigrant children more vulnerable to trafficking. A White House spokesperson said in a statement, quote, "This is an absurd and baseless allegation. President Trump's policies have helped combat the scourge of human trafficking that Joe Biden allowed to skyrocket. With a secure border, fewer children are being smuggled across and being subjected to abuse and trafficking. Additionally, the Trump administration has located 127,000 missing migrant children that the Biden administration lost."